Hey garden friends, it's Destry. Welcome to my last video in the Countdown to Christmas series where I will be recapping and giving you updates on all the projects I've done through the end of November and into December. So stick around for the video so that you can catch up on anything that you've missed. So first of all, I just want to thank you guys if you've watched some or all of my videos in the Countdown to Christmas series in the past month or so. I really appreciate you following along with the channel and checking out what I've been up to. Hopefully I've been able to bring you some ideas and some value to your time of watching me talk about plants and different crafting projects and things like that. I had a lot of fun putting these videos together for you. So let me go through some of the things that I've done in the series. So first off, I'm having my eggnog latte. If you've never tried putting eggnog, if you have like one of those milk frothers, put a little eggnog and a little regular milk to make your latte. It's quite spectacular. Anyway, the Countdown to Christmas series started as just kind of an idea to share some of the things that I usually do during the holiday season, things like planting amaryllis or paper whites. These are things I've done for years, but then I also tried some new things this year. So I did a little list here, and I had 18 videos in this series, which I was kind of blown away that I've done that many of them. So the first video was plant shopping and gift ideas. And so that one was really fun. I went to one of my very favorite plant stores here in Eugene, Oregon called Down to Earth. And I showed you lots of house plants and a few gift ideas, and that was at the I think it was at the end of November, and it was kind of a fun day, and I picked up an amaryllis bulb while I was there. The next video was planting amaryllis. So I had a couple amaryllis bulbs that I had from last year that I tried to make bloom again, and then I had a new amaryllis bulb as well. So that whole project has turned out pretty well. So I'll put in some footage here of what's going on with my amaryllis. Basically, all three of my ones where I'm trying to sprout them again have sprouted, one of which has a bloom head. And then the new bulb that I got, the big one that I got at Down to Earth, it finally has, started to just show a little bit of a bloom head. So no blooms yet on my amaryllis, but they all are at least producing leaves, and hopefully I'll get a couple blooms in the new year. So the third video was a front entry makeover number 1, and then there was actually a front entry makeover number 2. So in the first video, I planted up some pots with some evergreens. They were like a blue-ish color, like an evergreen. I can't think of the name of the tree, but anyway. And then I found some holly in my neighbor's yard, and I did some clippings and kind of shoved those down into the dirt, and they've done really well. The holly still looks beautiful. The berries are still plump and nice, and the leaves are still green and fresh. Unfortunately, I did plant some of cyclamen, and I had to later pull those out because they got too wet and mushy. So I did learn something from that process, but I had a lot of fun planting up those front planters. I also planted a camellia plant in one of my front planters, and that one hasn't done that well either, but that's something I can plant out in my regular landscape. It had a bunch of blooms or like buds on it that ended up not blooming, so that was kind of a bummer. But yeah, overall, the front still looks really nice, and I've had some neighbors comment that it looks pretty as they're walking into my home. So it still was a fun, project to do, and something I usually decorate the front of my house for this season anyway. So that was 2 videos in the series. So the next video was planting paper whites, and that's something I do every year. I just consider them an annual. I don't try to save the bulbs, but I did plant up some paper white bulbs, and they've all done really, really well. They're all blooming. They've gotten really, really tall, so usually I just take a ribbon and kind of tie them together. Sometimes I'll put a stake in there as well just to kind of give them some support, but they smell wonderful. They're all blooming. I would say they're almost, probably a few more, maybe another week or 2 that I'll get out of them, and then they'll kind of be done. And I did just plant them in pebbles with water, no soil, and they've done amazing. So that was a really fun project, and like I said, one that I feel like I try to do every season because paper whites are just so easy to grow. So the next video I did was a holiday succulent sleigh kind of planter for my table. And so I got this little sleigh on Amazon and I planted it up with some succulents that I took out of a pumpkin planter that I had for kind of the fall season. And unfortunately, 2 of the little succulents didn't make it. They kind of died. So I replaced them with another Sempervita, I believe, that I had in my greenhouse. So I kind of refreshed the planter at one point. But other than that, it's done really well. Most of the succulents, I think there's some hens and chicks in there, and they've done really well. And it still looks really good. I have it under a grow light right now, and it's I've really enjoyed that little planter this season. So the next video might be my favorite, just because of the memories attached to it. And that was my family and I took a holiday trip to Disneyland. And so I ran around Disneyland videotaping the plants of Disneyland and kind of the holiday decor of Disneyland. So if you haven't checked out that video and you are a Disney fan, I would highly recommend it. It was just a lot of fun just to kind of go to a place like that through like the lens of a gardener or yardner, a plant lover, and really just see the impressive display that the gardeners at Disney, I mean, it's Disney, of course everything is just over the top beautiful, but the plants of Disney are just so incredible. The holiday decor was so incredible. So if you haven't checked out that video, I would give it a watch. It's a short one and it's really fun, and one of my favorites. So the next 2 videos in the series were actually decorating my home when we got back from Disneyland. It was right at the beginning of December, and I was ready to get my trees up and get decorating. And so the first video I did some decluttering, and I kind of let go of some things and made room for my bigger Christmas tree and a little fireplace. And I have to say that little fireplace heater has been really great. It's just got a little remote control. So if you're a person who maybe don't have room for a real fireplace, I would recommend that one. I got at QVC, and I think they still have some available. It's just really a cute little decor piece, but also is a space heater, so it really heats up that room. And I've really enjoyed my 2 trees this year. I've got my bigger kind of tree that's more of my family tree, and then kind of a smaller pencil tree that is more of my fancier ornaments and things. And so those have been really fun to have this season in my home. So the next video I did was setting up a hot cocoa bar for a large event. It was for the parade that happens here locally in my town. And so I set up a table with thermoses of hot cocoa and all the fixings for all the kids and the families that joined us at the parade. And so that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to just kind of film something that I've done for the last couple years and, put that out kind of to the public as an idea. If you're somebody that, has a business or something like that, to host something like a hot cocoa bar, it's just a really nice way to get back to your community. So that was a really fun one to film for you. And yeah, it was a fun video. It was about how to make an evergreen wreath, and I was completely honest with you, it was the first time I'd ever made one. Definitely was a learning curve, but it was, again, kind of a challenge, something I have been wanting to do for a long time, and finally, made the time to try to do it. I have to say, unfortunately, I did put that wreath above our real fireplace hearth, and with the fires that we had in our fireplace, it dried out. It crisped up and it dried out, so I had to take it down just because it was losing all the pine needles especially, and it was kind of making a mess. So I took it down. I definitely, again, learned that if I'm gonna do a wreath like that, I probably will want to keep it outdoors, or maybe choose some different kinds of greens that maybe don't have as many needles that would dry out so quickly. It reminds me why I don't have real Christmas trees anymore, and why we have, the fake trees now, because of every time we tried to get a real tree, that's exactly what would happen. It would just crisp up and make a big mess. So anyway, it was a fun wreath to make, but it didn't last very long. So that's the real life update on that project. The next video was making an evergreen swag and arrangement for outside. I have to say those evergreens have done really, really well. Again, I think it's the coolness and the moisture of being outdoors, and maybe the different greens that were used in those containers, the little container and the swag. They still are really green and fresh looking, and so those are still out on my front patio and they look great. In the next video, I went to 2 different places to search for the perfect poinsettia. I took you on a little tour of some decor at a place called Jerry's Home Improvement, and then took you out to Johnson Brothers Nursery to look at some really beautiful poinsettias. Again, if you haven't checked that video out, I would recommend it just because it does have a lot of pretty things to see and a lot of pretty poinsettias. I ended up getting 3 poinsettias, 2 of which I gifted and 1 of which I kept. The one that I kept is doing amazing. I put it in a dish of water, like a bowl of water. I just set the whole plant in there for about an hour every couple days and let it soak up as much water as it wants, and it's doing awesome and it's so beautiful. So yeah, that was a fun video, and if you haven't checked it out, I would recommend that one. The next video in the series was how to care for Christmas cactus and the differences between Christmas cactus, Easter cactus, and Thanksgiving cactus. And that video has had the most views of any of my series in this Countdown to Christmas series. Probably because it's a how to, care for plants video, and a lot of you viewers are plant lovers like me. So that was a fun one for me. I showed you my granddaddy Christmas cactus, which he's still blooming, he's still going. I really am enjoying the blooms. A few of them are getting a little dry, but like I said in the video, you don't want to mess with the dried ones, just let them fall off naturally. And if you are interested in Christmas cactus or how to care for them, I would recommend watching that one. I planted up a caladium, actually repotted a caladium plant that I had, and then planted some caladium rhizomes that I had gotten from Amazon. Update on that project is that my caladium does seem happier, the one that I repotted. I have it under a grow light, so it's getting more light. I haven't seen any new growth from it yet, and I have not seen any growth from the rhizomes that I planted from the Amazon rhizomes. So I'm a little concerned. I have been keeping both of them relatively wet, but I have kind of a desire to dig up the rhizomes that I planted and see what they're doing under there, if there's any sprouting at all, if I maybe planted them upside down, I don't quite know. But not much to update you on that one project. More to come on that one, hopefully. Next video was a rescue mission called Saving the Cyclamen, where I went around some of my outdoor planters and unplanted some of the cyclamen plants that I had planted outdoors that were getting too much moisture and too much cold, and brought them into my greenhouse. And I have to say, they're doing amazing. They're so much happier in here in the greenhouse, and they have perked back up, they're blooming, they're looking great. So that was definitely a successful rescue mission. And as a gardener, I learned that, cyclamen, even though they are cold hardy, in my zone 8B here in Oregon, it's just too wet and damp for them to be outdoors. Definitely would be an indoor plant. So I learned something in the process and was able to save the cyclamen. The next video was last minute gifts for plant lovers. Again, if you haven't looked at that video, I would recommend checking it out. I gave you tons of ideas and all the links, Amazon links for, doing some shopping, even for yourself or for, gifts this time of year. But I have a lot of kind of favorite things on that list with some clickable links for you. So that's a really good video for, maybe even after the holidays, if you kind of get in that winter slump of, I kind of need a little pick-me-up, maybe I'll get myself something, to come in the mail to myself. Check out that video, it's got a lot of fun things. And then the last video in my Countdown to Christmas series was eco-friendly gift wrapping ideas. So that one is where I took some dried flowers, some fresh greens, and I showed you how to make basically some gift accents with things from nature, things from your yard. I did some rattle cans, some spray paint of some of my dried flowers, and that was really successful. And so that was a really fun, kind of crafty day for me of putting those together. And I have to say, the gifts do look beautiful, and it was really motivating for me to actually want to dry more flowers next year, because sometimes I've dried flowers and then ended up not really using them for anything. So that was a fun way to incorporate things from nature into my holiday gifting. So friends, that's the recap of the 18 videos in my Countdown to Christmas series. Again, thanks so much for checking out any and all of the videos. If you missed any of them, I'm gonna link the playlist down below in the comments, or not the comments, but in the description of the video. So that way you can check out the playlist, and all of those videos are in that playlist for you. So if you missed anything and you want to catch up, that's where they all are. So thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. I have an announcement. I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek of the next video series that I'm working on for you. And it is called Fresh and Simple, Winter Prep for the Spring Garden. And so I have some really fun ideas for this next series. It will be things that you can do now in wintertime to prep for a spring garden. So some cleaning, some organizing, some decluttering, some prepping, probably some seed starting. I also will be discussing how to set up some like grow lights and grow situations for if you're interested in starting seeds or interested in houseplants. I'll definitely have some focus on houseplants as well. So I'm really excited for this series, and I hope that you stick around and check it out. So I just wanted to wish you all a happy holiday season. I hope that you are enjoying your plants, your garden, your friends and family in this wonderful time of year. And I wish you all many holiday blessings. And again, I just so appreciate you being here in my channel, and I look forward to bringing you more fun ideas in the new year. So that's it for me today, guys. If you need me, I'll be hanging out in my greenhouse. I'll see you next time. Bye.